Hello everyone, a warm welcome to you all to ProConnect 2024. There have been a lot of discussions about increasing a building's performance. In other words, make them high performance buildings. Connected buildings and smart technology are transforming the way we design, construct, and manage buildings. This integration of technology aims to enhance efficiency, sustainability, and occupant comfort. A very simple example of a pain point I would like to cite here. Whenever we visit any theater or conference, in any renowned hotel, we make it a practice to carry a stole or a shawl. But the extreme low or high indoor temperatures leave us uncomfortable and eager to come out outdoors in fresh air. So, to increase productivity and overall well being of occupants in smart spaces is crucial nowadays, right? A comfortable indoor environment is very crucial. This was just one of the few challenges, I would say many challenges faced by our building automation industry and its users. But what are the other pertinent challenges in the path of making a building perform better? And what are the required solutions to them? Are few of the many facets which our eminent panelists present here today are going to reflect on. I'm Adrija Roy Chaudhary, your host for this amazing session. I would now introduce our panelists to our audience. Welcome Mr. Suhail Ansari, an industry veteran, director at Avon Building Solutions. He is an expert organizational leader with strengths in team building and business development. He has expertise in designing, execution, and closure of MEP and low current systems projects across the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. He has been participating actively in the cause of INBAC, specifically in the education front. Welcome, Suhail sir.
Thank you. Happy afternoon, everybody.
I now welcome Mr. Prashant Dharne. He is presently Regional Business Development Manager at Salto Systems, an alumnus of IIM Kozhikode. He has been instrumental in driving the sales and service operations, along with strong customer success and support professional with sound knowledge in IBMS systems. Welcome, Prashant, at Dynamic Impact.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Our next panelist is Mr. Rahul Walia, MD at Genius Vision Digital. He is a technology entrepreneur with 20 years of experience in ITES, a visionary leader and an avid learner who has led GVD in India to be a world-class IP video surveillance company. Welcome, Rahul, our enthusiastic inbacker.
Thank you so very much, Adrija. Thank you, everyone.
Now, I would request Suhail sir to share his perspective about the topic in discussion today: digital connectivity and smart technology for high-performing buildings.
Great. Good to be here on this panel and on the topic and probably the inaugural session of ProConnect. The topic we are talking about is high performance buildings and digital connectivity and smart parameter on these buildings. You see, the building objectives, as we know it, have shifted from being a necessity to being a need and being a desire. Consequently, the expectations of the occupants has moved from the building premises to being merely shelters to being comfortable, utilitarian, energy conservative, and energy efficient, and environmentally safe. From the city planner's perspective, rapid urbanization has led to sustainability as being the main criteria for them when they are talking about the smart cities. One way of evaluating a property is from the life cycle cost concept. The architectural beauty and the optimal space utilization is already designed by the architects. And if this is combined with intelligent features, it only adds value to the desirability quotient of a property. And of course, it will also benefit positively and affect the life cycle cost of the property. For me, the high performance building starts from the point where we are starting the designing and concept of the building. So the architect, if he's using BIM modeling to create structures that would optimize the space, would make them energy efficient, and would create beautiful in terms of the perspectives. If in this time, a concept of intelligent building and the concept of smart is also introduced at the BIM concept at the time of designing, then it leads to a proper design of the building as we want it. Retrofitting of buildings to make them intelligent and to make them smart just adds ugliness to the building. And the beauty is when the structure and this intelligent systems and smart systems are woven beautifully into the fabric of the building, so that they are not overtly visible, but at the same time they are there. So without having been seen, they're actually adding to the desirability quotient of the building. This can only happen when it is taken up at the design stage. So for me, a high performance building starts at the design stage, right at the concept stage. Digital connectivity would allow the designers to leverage BIM and other designing tools to achieve intelligent building designs. Smart buildings deliver real-time data, and these can be used to optimize the performance and manage the buildings in a better way. The goal of creating smart buildings to me is to have conserve energy and have very energy efficient buildings, and thereby reduce the operating expenses. At the same time, giving comfort, the desired features, the desired operability, the ease of operations, etc., etc. So for me, high performance building starts at the design stage, and one of the things that to me is very dear is that it should track the usage and the how the natural resources of the planet are being utilized. And here I'm talking about fresh water and air. So while it should be good for the occupant, it should also be good for the environment, which is very important, because as we know, fresh water is one of the very scarce resource, and I'm very much concerned about fresh water becoming a challenge in the very near future. So if these are taken care of at the design stage, it would enhance the performance of the building throughout its life. And in fact, it will increase the lifespan of the building. And when the building lifespan is increased, you automatically have a reduced cost over the life cycle. That is, the life cycle cost will reduce. Digital connectivity and smart buildings are concepts which are revolutionizing the building design. Okay, and high performance buildings, making them more sustainable, making them more efficient, and making them more. So it's not a question of space anymore. It is a question of the occupants experiencing the space that they are utilizing, not just what they are occupying. So it's no more an occupant. It is more of an experience that the people are looking for when they're looking for this. And embracing these innovations in of intelligent buildings, smart buildings, right at the design step, is actually a great leap forward in the architectural designing concept, as well as it is a leap forward on the creation of an environment where we have sustainable buildings, where we have smart buildings, where we have efficient buildings, and we have buildings that work every time and any time. So that for me is a high performance building, and that is where I come from. Start at the beginning, start right at the concept stage. That's what I had to talk about on this.
So, Elsa, I must say this is an amazing start. And of course, sustainability and a building that works. So, these are the two key terms I'm going to take away from your monologue at the start of this panel discussion. I'm looking forward to know your take, Prashant, about the topic.
Yeah, hi Adrija. The topic is digital connectivity and high performance in building the environment. So, as Sohail sir said, like I just want to say that yes, it starts with the structure design itself. You have to think at the start. Like once you start with the proper design, proper flow, and also it goes into the right solution. So as we talk about digital connectivity, if we talk about the buildings, I come from the complete building background. Like we have experience into HVAC, BMS, then fire detection systems, access control, and all. So we all, if we connect all those things in a right platform, right approach, and if we utilize all the services together with a digital connectivity platforms, of course, the building will be always into the high performing assets. So all the, as I said, like we talk about any sort of services. If we talk about fire detection, it has to be connected to the access control. Then your BMS has to be connected to your lighting controls. All those things parameters are interlinked to each other, right? So that's what. If we talk about connectivity, of course, everybody wants to have the proper connectivity in the buildings in terms of the infrastructure. Then only, of course, the user experience, which we were discussing earlier also, as Suel also said. So it's like user experience is the most important right now. The occupants' safety as well as your the building performance. Then you have a lot of parameters involved, like building performance, like your energy efficient products, or you have the sustainable products or not. End of the day, of course, if it is a commercial building, every end users or every client wants to have their occupants to become in comfort zone, right? As you said, if we go to any mall or any theater or something, we carry our shawls or something because it's not properly maintained, right? So that makes a difference, right? Where that is not connected might be to the proper occupancy level sensors and the airflow designs and all, of course. So that has to be calculated at the time of your design stage, as well as your we have to calculate every aspects in terms of your maximum capacities to how to utilize the system. That is also important. We might be having a system, but we don't know how to use it, right? So, suppose you have access control where you can connect through RFID, you can connect to Bluetooth, you can connect to the NFCs also. But right now, customer doesn't want to go with Bluetooth and NFCs because they might think it's wireless, right? So that has to be changed. That mindset has to be changed. Mindset has to be changed in certain period of time. Then only, of course, we'll be going towards the digital connectivity world, and we'll be using our complete building as a high performance buildings. We can have the real time monitoring data. We can have the audit trails in terms of your access control point. So all those things are involved. And yes, this is my say to about the topic. Of course, we'll discuss further as the discussion goes on. Thank you.
Wonderful, Prashant. It's true that we have to build a bridge between the users and what we want to provide to them. So that kind of awareness has to be there. So rightly said. And now, Rahul, I would like to know your take about the topic.
Well, Adrija, I would say that we are cut from the same cloth, like Ansari Saab said, like Prashant is saying. So I would also like to ponder upon certain points that we should, talk about here today. First of all, see, interoperability of any system is a very distant thing right now. It's very platonic to the facility managers as well, right? But they need to understand the transformative values that you get after once your systems are interoperable. For example, the efficiency of the system, the streamlined operations would be there. Now imagine a system wherein the lighting, the HVAC controls, or any other systems like Prashant mentioned out on access control system and fire alarm systems, if they work in harmony, so what would be the operations would look like in that kind of a building? It's pretty much very obvious for everyone, that it would definitely increase your operations in an efficient way, in a streamlined manner. Then the second thing comes up is the cost saving that you get, because once your systems are integrated, you're already ready for any kind of predictive maintenance which is there. You're ready for energy consumptions which are happening. You are ready to allocate your resources accordingly. And that's where you can have a lot of savings on the cost. Now, these are direct impact for the customers, not for us, but for the customers I'm talking about here. And then you are future proof for the any technology which is coming up. Once you have an open system, you can very well say, okay, I can adapt to any new technology which is coming up and which would reduce my cost, which would increase my operations and give a good environment to the tenants. Then You have enhanced safety and security, because safety and security is a very crucial part of the building, because anybody who's the tenant in the building would like to feel safe, isn't it? Wherever you're sitting, are you feeling safe right now? That's, I think that's the best thing one can ask for, or you can say that's the basic thing one can ask for to get into a building, that they want to be safe. And since so many incidents which has happened, which has actually beefed up the security that used to be there earlier, now there's a challenge that we need to operate all these security equipments together along with the other system which are there in the buildings. Then of course interoperability would increase the experience of the tenant which is there. Then there is environmental sustainability that you get out of it. So there are numerous benefits to interoperability of a system, and I would agree with my co-participants here that it should be devised from the start, from the word go of a building. Thank you, Adrija.
Absolutely. And you have mentioned all the aspects, I think, which has to be integrated and has to happen now. So it's the need of the hour.
Thank you.
Right. So now let's move on to our next round, that is the question and answer. And my first question is to Prashant. Prashant, what are the challenges you feel are faced due to poor integration of building systems?
Your poor integration of buildings system, right? Challenges what we face. Yeah, there are, like I can say, can lead to the various challenges. Its impact to your overall efficiency of the system, then safety, then functionality. All those things affects. Like, that is will be the challenge for the. These are the key challenges. And if we talk about the mainly, there might be around 10 to 12 main challenges will be there. Of course, like if you start with inefficiency, if you don't use, if you don't integrate the system well, so like energy, your HVAC system, water systems, or your other lighting systems and all. So if you don't integrate that well, as you said, it's a poor integration, right? If we can say it's not improper integration, we can say, rather we can say that. So we'll be having an inefficiency in the building. So that impact to the inefficiency of the building. And next, if you talk about the operating cost, of course, yes, if we don't do proper integrations to the services what we are offering or what is there in the building, your operating cost will go up, right? Because we are not using the system at his level, we have to use it, right? So that's what the operating cost goes up. Then you have the limited automations kind of thing. I can say we will not able to integrate properly. Then you can't do lot many automations in that. So like if you have laws, we're not able to do that. Next thing is your, which I talk about. If you talk about, yes, of course, we have to talk about the user experience point of view, which is like then there will be a poor user experience, because if you're an occupant and if you find there is a lot of poor integrations happening in the building services, so there will be a problem in your HVAC system, your lighting system, your fire detection system. If sometimes fall alarms comes up, sometimes the CCTV will not work. All those things, lift integrations are not proper, then that is a problem again. So that goes into the poor experience, user experience. Then if you talk about again challenges, of course, I say about maintenance. Of course, yes, the maintenance is again a main challenge if you don't have the proper integrations. So your maintenance cost will go up, because we don't know which part has gone to the breakdown, or which services is under breakdown. We don't know. We're not able to do the preventive maintenance, right? Or we don't know which part, like as I said, like then we have to send across all the services. Servicemen has to be sent. One HVAC will be going to that point, or suppose if lighting is not, well, all those things are happen, right? So that maintenance challenges will be there. And then if you talk about, yes, of course, safety. If you don't have proper safety, as I told earlier also, if you integrate our access control to the fire detection and CCTV, rather now we are again like integrating the CCTVs also to our access control and fire. Suppose there is a fire in one premises, one corner of the premise, automatically that cameras goes into that zone, and it gets captured all the images. So we'll not have that safety. Again, we have to check it. Like if we don't do proper integrations, all the services, that again safety will be a major concern.
Even better, Prashant, I think the CCTV cameras are now also equipped to detect fire through AI.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's very good.
The fire catches, then the cameras will go at that position, and it will do alarms also sometime. Now AI is doing lot many things, right? So what we are talking about here, the challenges in poor integration, right? So this is the challenge. Safety will be the biggest challenge for the employees or the occupants over there. Then you have scaling problem will be there, of course. Scaling means I'm talking about future expansion. I've talked about. Suppose right now you have 1,000 point of access. If you have limited CCTVs, limited BMS points, if it is not integrated properly or something, we're not able to scale the building, right? Suppose you have right now one A block building, then if you have B block, C block, right? If you don't do integration properly, then you're not able to integrate B block, C block, right? So that will be a problem. So that backward integration as well as forward integration has to be there. That's what we talk about the open protocols, right? That has to be open protocol systems. That's what we INBAC, I think we talk more on that. So that help us to have the integrations properly. Then data, I can say data silos, that called as silos. So that is means if you have the data for any system from every system, suppose you have 1,000 FCUs, you have 20 pumps, you have 1,000 points of fire detection system, CCTV more than 500 numbers. If you have entire data to be captured and properly managed, monitored, and we read that data properly, we'll be able to understand how the system is working. So if we don't have proper integration, again, we're not able to do anything with that data. We don't know how to use it also. So that is what, again, that is one more challenge. Then again, the compatibility issue, I can say, if we don't have the proper integration between systems, like suppose I'm from access control and our Rahul is from CCTV, sir is from that fire detection, for example. If we don't have the proper integration or proper compatibility integration that we need to share each other open protocols which we are talking about. So that will be a challenge again. Like if we don't do proper integration with each other, with all services, the compatibility issue comes, like that will be a problem again. So then next is, I can say, yes, these are the major things I feel like. Regulatory changes that happen sometimes in our industry, of course, building norms, all these building norms change as per the sustainability model, your global environment, IGBC norms, lot many things are there. We're not able to cope up to that then, right? So suppose the government comes with some norms now, all this water use has to be reusable again. But if we don't have that integration properly, then it's a challenge for the building, right? Then again, the entire water goes waste. Your entire energy goes waste, whatever you're used and all. So that is the challenge. These challenges I just found, but yes, these are the challenges if you don't do proper integration. This is what might say to the panelists and Drija, this might say. Thank you.
Of course, rightly mentioned. And that's what, like data, whatever you are gathering, it won't be of any use if you do not integrate it well. And the technology which you were talking about, like AI detecting a fire, so
Yes.
we won't be able to use it for the benefit of mankind. And that's what building automation impacts lives.
Yeah.
So that is like the major difference with industrial automation, right? So it's people's lives we are talking about and impacting.
Yes. Safety.
Right.
That's what I would
Safety, yeah, of
important.
course. So would you be able to give a real-time example, Prashant, like about
Real-time
the
example, of course, yeah. So if you talk about real-time, there might be a lot many examples, but rather
course.
I'll stick to the couple of points, not many. So I'll just talk about, see, I come from the HVAC background, so mainly HVAC, and now I'm into access control. So I'll give two examples here, right, which we were on
I'm sure
Rahul and
you'll
me.
be having a bunch of things to
Yeah,
share with us.
examples are there, of course. I found in practical also lot many challenges happens at site as well as at the time of commissioning also it happens. So if we talk about real-time example, if we don't do proper integrations to the system, like HVAC and lighting controls, major it happens challenge there sometimes, I can say. If you don't have the proper occupancy sensors, then once the guest enters to the room, it will detect, it will on the light, but it will, if it will not give the proper signal to the HVAC system, the HVAC system will be in this thing off mode or sleep mode only, right? So
Right,
that is
right.
one more, that is the poor integration thing. There's a small example I'm giving. Next thing is if you talk about CCTV access control and fire detection, right? If you don't integrate CCTV and access control and fire detection, if you
Mhm.
have the fire in one premises, the access control has to open all the doors, right? You should not have that barriers. You should open that automatically. So that
Mhm.
integration has to be done well, or else it's a challenge, right? So that is again, if you don't do proper integrations, is the real time, I can say, challenges happens. Sometimes emergency door will not open. We're not able to open the. Of course, that will have that panic bar switch button, but that is also sometimes access control solutions are there, because no one has to go every time from that, right? So that is also access control. All the doors has to open automatically. So that thing is there. And sometimes, see, as I'm do now access control, what happens? I feel the one click has to open all the doors if it is a fire. Not like if you have to go to every door or every button, click that, and no. One click has to open all the doors, and that integration has to be between fire panel and the access control panel. That has to be done. Or software integrations has to be done in a proper way. Next thing, yes, the major thing is like HVAC and occupancy sensors. If we don't do integrate properly, then you have the loss of energies, of course. Actually, everybody knows that HVAC itself takes more than 50% of your energy consumption in the building. So if you do proper integration with HVAC system and the BMS and then IBMS, what we call the integrated building management system, that all entire things we integrate properly. Of course, you'll be having a very good return on investments. Then all things are online as per the requirements. And of course, these real-time example, but small examples I have given, not too much. HVAC and lighting control, then fire detection access control. Now we can say fire detection comes CCTV also we can integrate, right, Rahul? If you agree with me. If you have the integration between access control and fire and CCTV. Wherever the fire.
Even more so, I would like to add here that, for example, if there is a fire in a building and the fire happened on, say, 4th or the 5th floor. Now, of course, integrating all these things together makes a lot of sense. But since we were talking about data as well, now say there is a fire alarm happened on the 5th floor and the fire extinguisher at the 5th floor is out of commission. And the person who is fighting the fire goes out to the 5th floor and finds out that the fire extinguisher is out of commission. Now look at the situation here. But if the system that you're operating on gives you a flash of warning that the 5th floor extinguisher is out of commission, you can very well take one along with you, and maybe you'll be in a better place to handle all that. So that's what the data-driven decisions would feel like. That's what the response management would feel like. So yes, I totally agree.
You mean to say, Rahul, that comes under preventive maintenance or predictive maintenance kind of thing? If
correct,
that
yes.
extinguisher is under
the data of that thing of the maintenance which are happening, what has been happened during the maintenance of that thing should also be mentioned on the IBMS or the portal which the customer is using. So they are well aware of the 360 degrees of the the situation. That's what you call like taking an informed decision.
So this is what
nowadays we are in high rises, right? We don't have 6th floor or 7th floor buildings. We are having more than 20. So in that case, if a fire happens,
come on, that's not true. I mean, we are in a less high rise than in Mumbai, of course.
That's what, like, I stay at Pune, so I'm talking about.
Okay.
But then access control and fire these impacts lives directly, right? So
of course,
that's what these are the real-time examples. If you don't have you have the poor integration. If you don't do it, your employees will be under trouble. There will be safety problem. There will be audit problems. Many things are happening, right? If fire happens to any building, what government asks? Do you have a fire doors? Do you have ULFM approved systems in your premises? They'll ask all those things, right? That has to be there as a proper, as a end users or customers has to think about that. So what has to be used and all those things, of course. And this is they should not have the poor integrations.
I think we should stop calling it guidelines and we should start calling it prescription.
Rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you mean to say guidelines will be a better word? Sorry, guidelines is not a good word, and prescription, doctor gives prescription.
Yeah, because then people would take it seriously,
That's what I'm saying. Doctor gives prescription, they don't give guidelines, right?
Yeah.
You have to follow them. You don't have a choice. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. On that note, thank you so much, Prashant, Rahul, and Suhail sir, for the wonderful discussion. And let's move on to our next question. Okay, my next question is for Suhail sir. How do you think connected buildings can come as a solution to it? Whatever challenges Prashant spoke about.
Actually, Prashant spoke about the challenges, but while he was speaking, he has also given you solutions in the challenges that he has spoken about, and Rahul also added on that. You see, by themselves, these systems, the building service systems or the building systems, by themselves are not capable of handling that volume of data, and they're not analyzing the situations. So you need to have a more sort of an approach where you have all these various systems come up on a common platform and have a sort of a cause and effect type of a relationship. And it's very simple. I will call it a cause and effect relationship, but it could be more complex than that. To say that what happens when there is a fire? What happens to the elevator when there is a fire? So, for example, I had been to a very prestigious building and they had signboards near these things that do not use the elevator in case of a fire. But then, in case of fire, nothing happens to the elevator, it just stays there. People can use it if they want. What ideally should happen is that the elevator should go down to the ground floor and open the doors and be there until a fireman comes and uses his fireman switch to operate the elevator for firefighting purposes. So this does not give a choice to the occupants that, oh, okay, lift is available, let me go down fast. You know. So this is the kind of detailed integration that one would look at when one is looking at connected buildings, where you're capable of having softwares and processes on the common platform to be able to take informed decisions and analyze decisions. You analyze the data and you're able to take decisions which will be correct and which will be detailed. So these integration problems should not, and having said that, let me be in sync with Prashant that there's a lot of poor integration. A lot of that is because of the detailing that we may not be getting into. Okay. A lot of that may be because of the paucity of skilled people who are able to do the integration, as well as even the simple technicians who are not connecting the wires properly. So a lot of things happen because of this as well. But in any case, a connected building, a connected system would definitely lead to better integration, would lead to a cause and effect type of system, would lead you to do prior tests and checks on imaginary situations on how it would react if it was so. What are the things that would happen in case there's a fire somewhere? And you can actually have a run through with it, a demo run through, or this thing to check all these things. Individual operations of systems are limited by their own this thing and the number of people that are there. So yes, I would say that connected buildings could help in the resolution of poor integration, provided they are getting into more details and provided you have the right people to not to overlook small things. I'll give a very small example since Prashant is also in the access control. There were the buttons installed for the lifts, right? And on and off the buttons, when the lift was traveling, the button would give a signal for the lifts to stop and open the doors. And a lot of soul searching was done, a lot of this thing was done, and it came down to the fact that the electronic chip in that small button was reacting to the RF that was coming out when the motors of the lift was operating. Now, if you have to really have the 100% integrated system, you got to go down to that level and check that are my systems RF compliant? Is my chip, is my board, is my switch RF compliant, so that it is not affected by any of the other components that go into the making of the entire system. 100% you'll have a very integrated system.
Yeah.
So yeah, that it can be done. We are still, I think, I would say that we are still in the evolution stage. We are still moving there, and these sort of talks would actually bring more realization and sensitization of these things, and we'll move ahead, no doubt. Thank you.
Definitely, we are ahead. I think with this discussions and this talks, this is actually going forward, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So, interoperability is still seen as a thing of the future, and many facility managers of commercial sites are yet not convinced about its many advantages. So, what is your message to them, Rahul?
Well, I would like to say, I mean, all panelists are saying the same thing again, that interoperability is the key to perform at the optimal level. Because, see, how do you set up your key performance indicators in a building, right? We need to jot down all those points that how my building is efficiently running. If you see, all the built up environment adds around, say, 26% of the emission that is happening. And then when we talk about decarbonization, it is not possible without operating in a collaborative fashion. So I would say that we need to cater to some kind of a collaborative innovation, wherein the systems are talking to the other systems. And it should not be a very peculiar thing to do. It should not require a surgeon to do this operation. It should be pretty simple, off the shelf. And the APIs should be available in the libraries. And there should be a very collaborative, innovative approach to make this thing work. Then it also requires some data driven decision making, because that's what the user would feel the value is coming from. Because once they have the data driven decision making, they will be able to do a preventive thing. They would be able to respond to many situations which are happening. And they would have, like I said earlier also, I'm repeating myself, that you would be able to make some informed decisions because of all the data that you have. So the data would become information. That information would become knowledge. And of course everybody knows the data pyramid, right? So I think my only message to them would be that uh, we need to collaborate, uh, right from the manufacturers to the service providers to the users who are using it, and to the tenants. So all these four people who makes up a good building, or put a smile on the face, they need to come together and talk about these challenges that we are facing today, and how we can take over these challenges and bring a system which is collaborative in its approach, and the user can be engaged with the system. Not that we have given some trained professionals to operate it. Everybody who's a tenant to who's operating a building should be able to use that system. I think that's the message that I want to give.
I would
Wonderful
like to add that, once we are talking about the connected buildings and stuff, and with a lot of software that goes on behind that, the thing is, when we have all the data collected, and analyzed, then the software can do amazing things.
Correct. Yes.
They can forecast, they can predict, they can analyze, they can advise, and they can make it simple for the user. As you rightly said, Rahul, it should be simple for the user.
Yeah.
We do all the tough work behind that, before that, but when it comes to the user, it should appear quite simple. They would not realize how much of an integration has gone behind that. And the softwares are able to do amazing things for all these features. So that is an advantage when you have a connected system and you have a software which is taking care of all the building systems and bringing them on the common platform for the simple user to understand.
So, well, sir, I hail from the command center software guy. I mean,
Yeah.
people who know me,
Okay.
they call me like that. So for us, the number of clicks matter, because
Absolutely.
customer is not paying you for the kind of software that you're developing. He's paying you for the results that he's getting. So the minimum number of clicks and the maximum number of information, if you can get
Yeah.
in less clicks, then I think that's where my thing is done, or that's where
Absolutely.
I get satisfied with my work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's the user who is supreme here to understand. And I think INBAC is doing a great job here, because if you see all the buildings which are already done and the buildings which are coming up, so I think we are the eye of the tornado right now. So there's a lot of challenge facing, and I think INBAC has taken up the very challenge to decarbonize, to connect the buildings, and to sustain the buildings and the environments that we are living in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rahul, I think you talked about APIs, right? Thus, I'll interrupt here. Sorry for this, but
Yes, yes.
I think you are, as you said, you are the command center software guy, right?
Yeah.
So in command center, it's integration of all the services. So, right, the sharing of the APIs or the inter operability, or we can say interconnecting to the APIs, that plays a major role here, right? So the API integrations has to be a proper seamless integrations, what I can understand. That
Yes.
if we are on the same platform, if we are agreed to share each other the integrations, of course, the end user or the end users, or of course the clients will be a there will be a simple solution they'll find. But what the API integrations it works, or what challenges we face while integrations, we
Right.
know that, right? So we know the back pain of that, and but of course we want our customers should be happy, and they should, as you said, simple solutions for them. So
Right.
that we need to work towards that API integrations with the seamless integrations kind of thing. That has to be done.
Definitely, definitely. I think it is also our responsibility
Yeah, that's
to
what I'm saying. Yeah,
make our customers understand about APIs, because API nowadays is taken as a terminology, whereas it's a syntax. You know, so anything here or there it won't work. So it's a syntax, it's not terminology. We need to also educate our customers that what are the REST APIs, what are pull or push APIs, how do the
yeah,
notifications, how open they are, and
correct.
how the APIs are written in different languages. Either is it the new release or it is an old one that is working, and how much it can integrate. When we say seamless integration, it's a very open-ended thing. So there is no start, there is no end to it. So I think we need to quantify that also, and then only we can bring quality to it.
That's what I
Great.
said. Like
Yeah,
the
that's right.
API is major plays major role here. What, which kind of things? That's what I was saying.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
And all this discussion, made me remember about an old talk. I was just a guest there, and that speaker was talking about how they were utilizing water in a facility management aspect. So there were a lot of people who used to come during the lunch hours, and so there was a lot of traffic, and there was a lot of usage of water. So they could actually save on water throughout the year by getting the trends of the whole year. So that is what data, bring to the table.
It's a
So
powerful tool. Yes.
it is. And on that note, let's move on to the next question. So I would like to know from Suhail sir. So at present in India, what are the prospects of connected built environment and smart technology?
Well, let me tell you that there is no technology deficiency in India. We are technically quite capable. But the thing is that if I were to quote some figures, which I am not going to comment on the veracity of these figures, but they will give an idea that the business or the market of building automation was like $5 billion in 2023. Whereas if you take it as a percentage of the population as compared to a developed country, it should have been around $15 billion. So today we already have a gap of 11, $12 billion worth of market, which we should actually be having. Now at a CAGR of 15%, we would be looking at 65 to $70 billion of business in the next 5 years. So prospects, huge prospects. Okay, I mean, um, I wouldn't say that
Well,
the only limitation is the intent.
Intent.
So
Absolutely.
uh, the stakeholders should have a very strong desire, an extreme desire to go this way. They should have an intent to build smart buildings, intelligent buildings, communicated buildings, and then it can move forward. As Rahul said, we should sort of advise our users or make the users aware of these things. But the user comes much later. What about the first parts? As I started talking about at the design and concept stage, the builder, the developer, the people who are going to own the building. That intent and desire should come from them. So I would rather train my guns on these people that have these buildings and how it will translate into a user satisfaction or a user delight. So to me, the first is an intent that should be there for the stakeholders to invest in such properties, to build such properties. And then this could also be taken up through the life cycle cost concept, where if they feel that having this system put in place is going to actually cost them more in the at the upfront. But if you look at it and how the maintenance cost of this is going to end up over a period of 20 years, and maybe you add another 5 years of life to the building or to the property because of the way that you've managed it, then the cost comes down drastically. So this type of a concept of life cycle costing would probably make the desire more, especially if the developer is going to be the owner of that property. So the other thing is the philosophy of ingraining ourselves, the mass of people, on the preservation of natural resources. Most of the time, these things we are talking about energy conservation. When we talk about intelligent buildings and stuff, where does this come from? We are all talking about water usage. We are talking about coal use for the energy generation. Now, if we are ingrained with conservation of these natural resources, the pollutions that go into the air, then probably we will start training to think ourselves in terms of having smart, intelligent buildings which reduce the load on the environment as well. So, coupled with features, coupled with functionalities of the buildings, if these smart living options are also exercised, as well as give a satisfaction to the user and the builder that okay, he's also contributing to the environment as such, to the safety as such. I think we also need to talk about the safety a lot, because that is one critical area which is totally neglected in our environment. I don't have to talk about the roads of Pune. So when these things are brought into picture, probably the desire to move towards a more friendly and intelligent and smart environment and landscape would be there. And the second thing that would require is a trigger of some sorts. You see, willy-nilly, COVID has given us digital payment, which if you would have gone if COVID was not there, it would probably have taken us a decade or 5 years at least. But people have, got onto the digital payment like in a year or so, and it's moved on very fast. Similarly, now India is moving very fast on the development of roads and communications, and we are talking about 5G and 6G, which many countries are not having at the moment. So, what sort of a trigger that we can give to the community, to the nation, that they have to go on thinking in these lines to adopt such building practices, such intelligent systems, and such intelligent landscapes, smart city concepts. Okay, so you have it in your home as an individual, and then it spreads to the city. So yes, Adrija, the prospect of having these systems is huge. And when we talk about India, you always talk about multiplying by 1.4 billions in this thing. So it's there. We are there to stay. And the faster we do it, the better.
Of course, and the
Thanks.
faster we learn that we have to do it together. So all the stakeholders have to come together to do it.
That's
So
important,
once,
yes.
all right. So my final question is for Rahul. Rahul, what
Yeah.
is your message to all stakeholders of the building automation industry about connected buildings and smart tech? And what are your thoughts about INBAC in that context?
Well, I would like to say to the users that we we only have just one planet, right? And we are all here. So we need to shed our fears of the older systems and bring about new approaches, new integrations, a little collaborative approach from all manufacturers, and try to give a data-driven systems to all who are involved in running a building or are occupying a building or are just living there. So I think that's the message that I want to give. Go ahead and explore, because there are new solutions which are off the shelf, and with the introduction of IoT, like Suhail sir said, you get the trigger points from anything which is happening. It's not just when it is way off your KPI settings, but yes, it can also be predictive. So with the help of machine learning on a data of say 90 days also, we can give you a prediction which is way above than 85% accurate. So I think the facility managers or who are running the facilities need to explore these new solutions and experiment a little bit and be little bold on the kind of acceptability of such systems, because there are such systems which are happening right now, and there are buildings who are running on a great initiative of decarbonization. And I think, like I said, INBAC is at the center stage here, because this is a very big challenge, even for the built up environment which is coming up, and also for the real estate which is already existing. So to take up an initiative to connect these buildings, to bring a data for for taking good decisions, I think it's a great initiative and a great effort that INBAC team is putting up. And being part of the committee as well for the building codes, I think I had a great experience working with all in the committee, and how they are so passionate about bringing some new codes to the building and putting a life to it again. So thank you, Adrija, and thank you for this opportunity and asking me these questions so that I could express the heartfelt participation that I had with you guys. Thank you.
Well said, Rahul.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's what INBAC has joined all the hearts, because I think you all have faced all the challenges yourselves.
I think
So
Rahul has put all the points, which I also had a couple of points
I'm
to
so sorry, Prashant.
express. No, I'm saying no. I'm saying like you put that's good. I am saying. See, like you talked about the accept the new technology, right? Plays a major role here, right? Because we are like conventional system, we always think about conventional, right? So, but we're
Correct,
not
yes.
going ahead and accepting the new things. That plays a major role here. Right? That point I like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
and I think we Indians, we excel at that particular aspect, because UPI is being used in India, and it was we who started this line of thinking, at least. So on that note, I would like to just add my line of a summary. So I think Suhail sir had started by saying that a building that works. So that is what is the most important. So, and we have to approach all the sustainable approach. We have to adapt all the sustainable approaches, and also think that this is only one earth, and we are not going to have a second chance over here. So we have to take care of our resources, and we have to act logically in using and those resources. And data, of course, data plays a vital role. Data and trends, which helps us to take the informed decisions and save energy and improve the costs. And since we have so good and knowledgeable panelists, I would ask you all to add your line of summary to this panel discussion. Just a line from Prashant, if you would like to.
Topic today.
Yes.
Yeah, as you said, we have to act smart, right? It's a smart building we are talking about. We have to act smart, right? So be smart and let's be our building smarts, nothing else, right? So that's
Wonderful.
it.
Suhail sir.
Well, I'll stick to saying that let's start from the beginning. It makes it easier for us, and do not be afraid, as Rahul said, to innovate and adopt and take into the new practices. I would also add that we would need to upskill our technical teams in the market, in the country, to be more adaptive to this. It's a wonderful thing, and I'm sure we'll reach there shortly.
Absolutely. Rahul?
Well, I would like to repeat our Prime Minister here, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास. ये चारों चीजें चाहिए अपने को, तभी हम लोग we reach somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think for him running the country is such a challenge, because it's such a huge thing to do, and we are just trying to connect buildings. So yes, we need to come together and work it from there. I think
That's true.
that's the key
That
point.
is our motto at INBAC also, stronger together.
Good. Yeah, sabka saath.
Right.
Great.
Perfect, perfect. I think this is a perfect line which could have been a summary to our panel discussion. This wonderful discussion we had. It was so enriching. Thank you for your valuable insights. And there are a lot of takeaways for our audience, I'm so sure. Incredible knowledge sharing and real-time examples made this ProConnect a perfect start to this new year. So thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Thank
Adri.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Adri.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Adrian.
Bye.
Thanks, Prashant.